Imagine Kratos standing at the edge of the Nile, the sun beating down on his ash-white skin, as a new weapon materializes in his hands, not forged in ice or flame, but born from the sands of time itself. The god of war is heading to Egypt, and if you think the Leviathan axe and blades of chaos were powerful, wait until you see what the land of the Pharaohs has in store for him. Let's start with the obvious question. Why Egypt? After Ragnarok, Kratos, and Atreus' story in the Norse, realms reached a natural conclusion. Atreus went off to find the remaining giants, and Kratos, well, he's still standing. The ending of Ragnarok opened the door to new mythologies, and Egypt isn't just a random choice. It's arguably the most visually distinct, lore-rich, and thematically powerful mythology that Santa Monica Studio could explore next. Think about it. Egyptian mythology is obsessed with death, resurrection, and the afterlife, themes that have defined Kratos' entire existence. He's a man who's died multiple times, escaped the underworld, and killed death itself. Egypt's mythology revolves around the Duat, the realm of the dead, Ma'at, the concept of cosmic balance, and gods who literally judge souls. This is a perfect thematic match. Plus, the weapons and powers in Egyptian mythology are unlike anything we've seen. The Norse realms gave us ice and runes. Greece gave us raw godly rage and chains. Egypt gives us something far more mystical, tied to the sun, the stars, and the very fabric of reality. So what could Kratos wield in this desert battleground? The first weapon I want to talk about is one that feels almost tailor-made for Kratos' arc, the Khopesh of Ma'at. The Khopesh is one of the most iconic weapons in ancient Egypt, a sickle-shaped sword that was used by both warriors and pharaohs. But we're not talking about a regular Khopesh. We're talking about a weapon forged from the concept of Ma'at itself, cosmic balance, truth, and order. In Egyptian mythology, Ma'at is everything. It's the force that keeps the universe from descending into chaos. The goddess Ma'at literally uses a feather to weigh the hearts of the dead. If your heart is heavier than her feather, you're devoured by a mit. If it's balanced, you pass into the afterlife. Now imagine that concept weaponized. The Khopesh of Ma'at could function as a weapon that punishes imbalance. Picture this. Every enemy Kratos fights has an invisible scale. The more aggressive and chaotic they are, the more devastating this weapon becomes against them. But here's the twist. If Kratos loses control, if he gives in to his rage, the weapon turns against him. It would force players to fight with precision and restraint, which is a brilliant evolution of Kratos' character. Gameplay-wise, the Khopesh could have light and heavy attacks that shift based on your combat rhythm. Light attacks build up balance, which powers up a devastating heavy finisher. But if you spam attacks recklessly, you lose balance, and the weapon becomes weaker. It's a weapon that teaches control, the very thing Kratos has been trying to master since he left Greece. Lore-wise, Kratos could receive this weapon from Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, who sees Kratos not as a destroyer, but as someone seeking redemption. Thoth might test Kratos, offering him the Khopesh only after proving he's learned from his past. That would be a powerful narrative moment, and visually. Imagine a golden curved blade that glows brighter the more balanced your combat is, with hieroglyphs running along the edge that shift and change based on your fight performance. It would be stunning. Now let's talk about something completely different, the Scarab Gauntlet. The scarab beetle, or Khepri, is one of the most important symbols in Egyptian mythology. It represents transformation, rebirth, and the cycle of the sun. Khepri is literally the god who rolls the sun across the sky each day, and the scarab beetle is believed to do the same with balls of dung, which sounds gross, but symbolically, it's about taking something dead and creating life from it. The Scarab Gauntlet could be a wrist-mounted weapon that transforms based on what Kratos needs. Think of it like a shape-shifting gauntlet that can morph into different forms: a shield, a grappling claw, a battering ram, even a swarm of spectral scarabs that Kratos can unleash on enemies. In combat, this would give players incredible versatility. You could swap forms on the fly. Need to block a massive attack? Scarab shield. Need to close distance on a flying enemy? Scarab claw that pulls them to you. Surrounded by enemies? Release the swarm. It would be the ultimate adaptability tool, and thematically, it fits Kratos perfectly. He's someone who's constantly adapting, constantly being reborn through his trials. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this deep dive into what God of War, Egypt could look like, do me a favor and hit that like button. And drop a comment below telling me, what Egyptian god do you think Kratos should fight first? My money's on Set, but I want to hear your theories. All right, let's keep going. The Scarab Gauntlet could also tie into Egyptian resurrection myths. Maybe Kratos uses it to absorb the souls of defeated enemies, transforming their essence into temporary power-ups. Or maybe it allows him to interact with the Duat in ways other weapons can't, opening passages, revealing hidden enemies, or even reversing certain attacks. Visually, imagine a bronze and gold gauntlet with a massive scarab emblem on the back. When Kratos activates it, the scarab's wings unfold, glowing with solar energy, and the transformation happens in real time. It would be one of the coolest visual designs in the series. Insane. The Was Scepter is a staff carried by Egyptian gods, symbolizing power and dominion. It's depicted with a forked base and an animal head at the top, usually a jackal or a dog-like creature. But this isn't just a symbol. In mythology, the Was Scepter represents control over chaos, the ability to command the forces of nature and authority over life and death. If Kratos gets his hands on a Was Scepter, it wouldn't just be a weapon, it would be a tool of godly authority. This could function as a ranged weapon that fires beams of pure solar energy, or as a summoning tool that calls upon Egyptian creatures to fight alongside Kratos. Imagine being able to summon sphinxes, serpents, or even lesser gods to aid you in battle. Or better yet, using the scepter to temporarily control enemy gods, turning their own attacks against them. That would be a game changer, literally. The Was Scepter could also tie into environmental puzzles. Egyptian tombs are famous for their traps and puzzles, and the scepter could be used to manipulate them, raising and lowering platforms, opening hidden doors, or even reversing time on specific objects. That last one is key, because time manipulation is huge in Egyptian mythology, especially with gods like Khonsu. Narratively, Kratos could claim the Was Scepter after defeating Anubis, the god of death, or being gifted it by Osiris as a sign of respect. Osiris is the god of resurrection, and if anyone understands what Kratos has been through, it's him. That could lead to a really powerful scene where Osiris tells Kratos that true power isn't about destruction, it's about choosing what to protect. The Was Scepter would be the wisdom weapon, the one that proves Kratos has grown beyond being just a weapon of war. Now let's move beyond weapons and talk about powers, specifically channeling the Ennead. The Ennead is the group of 9 principal deities in Egyptian mythology: Atum, Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. These gods represent fundamental forces of creation, nature, and existence. What if Kratos could tap into their powers directly? Here's my theory. Instead of just wielding weapons, Kratos gains the ability to channel the essence of the Ennead, giving him temporary god-like abilities. Think of it like a rage mode, but instead of one form, he has 9 different divine states he can shift into. Let's break down a few. Shu, god of air. Kratos becomes lighter, faster, and can create windstorms that launch enemies, perfect for crowd control. Geb, god of earth. Kratos becomes a tank rooted to the ground and can cause earthquakes that stagger enemies. High defense, devastating area attacks. Nut, goddess of the sky. Kratos gains limited flight or extended jumps and can rain down meteors or starlight on enemies. Ultimate offensive power. Osiris, god of resurrection. This one's interesting. What if Kratos could briefly resurrect fallen enemies to fight for him? Or use it to revive himself once per encounter if he dies? That would be a massive gameplay shift. Set, god of chaos. Pure aggression. Kratos enters a frenzy state where his attack speed and damage skyrocket, but he takes more damage too. High risk, high reward. These powers could be unlocked by defeating or allying with each member of the Ennead, creating a dynamic where Kratos isn't just killing gods, he's absorbing their essence, becoming something more than god or man. He's becoming balance incarnate. And here's the kicker, these powers could synergize with his weapons. Using the Khopesh of Ma'at while channeling Shu could create a whirlwind of balanced strikes. Using the Was Scepter with Nut could call down a rain of divine energy. The combinations would be endless. So we've covered weapons and powers, but let's zoom out and talk about what Kratos' journey in Egypt might actually mean. Egypt is a land built on cycles, life, death, rebirth. The sun rises and sets. The Nile floods and recedes. Pharaohs die and are mummified, waiting for resurrection. If Kratos enters this world, he's walking into a mythology that mirrors his own existence. He's died, come back, and struggled with what he's become. My theory? Kratos isn't going to Egypt to destroy the pantheon. He's going to restore it. Think about it. Ragnarok ended with the Norse gods being overthrown, but it also brought renewal. What if Egypt is in chaos because the balance of Ma'at has been broken? What if Set has overthrown Osiris, or Apophis, the serpent of chaos, is breaking free? Kratos wouldn't be the destroyer. He'd be the restorer, the one who brings balance back. This would be a massive shift for the character, and it would make for an incredible story. Kratos using the weapons and powers of Egypt not to tear down gods, but to save a mythology from collapsing. That's growth. That's evolution. And imagine the final battle, Kratos standing before Apophis, the embodiment of chaos, wielding the Khopesh of Ma'at, the Scarab Gauntlet, and the Was Scepter, channeling the power of the Ennead to literally hold the universe together. That would be the most epic God of War moment ever. So there you have it. The Khopesh of Ma'at, the Scarab Gauntlet, the Was Scepter, and the powers of the Ennead, Kratos' potential arsenal in Egypt. These aren't just weapons. They're symbols of transformation, balance, and the journey from destroyer to protector. If God of War, Egypt happens, and Kratos wields even half of what we talked about today, it's going to be legendary. But what do you think? What weapons or powers do you want to see? What Egyptian gods should Kratos face? Let me know in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. If you loved this breakdown, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and join the MythMode family. We've got more lore, more theories, and more deep dives coming your way. Ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Until next time, this is MythMode. Stay curious, stay mythical, and I'll see you in the next one.